Hello. Today I'm going to start chapter 4 about measures of variability. So this chapter is continued from chapter 3. So I want you to remind yourself of what you learned in chapter 3 first. Let me start. So simply speaking, let me summarize chapter 3 and 4 in 2 sentences. So first, if you want to summarize some data with one number, then you can use a measure of central location, the mean, which we learned in the earlier chapter, chapter 3. But if you want to summarize data in two numbers, which will be a better summary, it contains more information, and then you can use a measure of center and a measure of variability. So a measure of variability is the second most important measure in statistics, and usually data are summarized in two numbers, two measures, which are the measure of center and variability. So and the chapters in the textbook are like this. So find them. Let me start with some graphs, histograms. So think about these two histograms. Suppose that you have two data, or like say, data from two different groups, and they are blue and red. And in this case, you can clearly see the difference between the blue and the red. In this case, the major difference is where they are located. So the blue is located around this point, say here. This is the center of the blue. On the other hand, this is the center of the red. So when you describe the difference between the blue and the red like this, then you can say that the center of the red is on the right side of the blue. Or in other words, the mean of the red is greater than the mean of the blue, right? So the mean captures the main difference between these two in this case, right? The major difference is the location where those data are located around. However, think about these this type of histograms. Again, you see two different histograms, the blue and the red. However, in this case, the mean does not capture that difference because the blue is centered around somewhere here, but red is also centered around somewhere here. So, if you just approximately, I can see that their centers are close to each other. So their centers will be similar. You cannot distinguish them clearly. So something else is different between these two, red and the blue. So that is as you can see from the histogram, is about the spread. So even if the red and the blue are are located around the same point right here, so even if they have the same mean, however, their main difference is the spread from the mean. So the red is more concentrated around the center, but the blue is more spread out to further away from the center. That's what differentiate these two histograms. So then, as you can see from this, like if you summarize these two histograms into their means, then you cannot tell what is what, right? The mean will be similar. Therefore, you need to use another measure that captures the difference between these two guys. That is the measure of variability, which we are going to study in this chapter, right? So let me contrast the measures of central location and the measures of variability. So the measures of central location capture where observations are located. So it's about what's a typical value or representative value of that data. It's a nice summary. It's really simple and easy to understand and easy to calculate. And however, it loses a lot of information because it only tells you where it is, but it does not tell anything more about its shape. It's located here, but how does it look like? Like something like that. On the other hand, the measures of variability capture how far observations are from the center. So as I said, it's about its spread, how spread away from the center. So variability. Then it it contains, because it's not about center, but given the center, the measures of variability capture the distance from the center, away from the center. So it contains exactly the information that's not contained in the measure of central location, right? So in that sense, the measures of variability complement the measures of central location, right? So they capture different aspects, different dimensions of the distributions, and they complement each other. So that's why we usually use these two measures together. So just to help you understand, in the the most famous, most popular measures of variability are variance and standard deviation, right? So usually, if you have learned statistics somewhere else, the two most important measures in statistics are the mean and the standard deviation or the variance. So this pair is the most common way to summarize data, and we are studying the later. Uh, uh, so the mean was easy to understand. We studied in chapter 3. Now we will talk about the variance and the standard deviation. Okay, uh, let me ask you a question to start the chapter. So think about two cities, Honolulu and Phoenix. I took some stereotype pictures. I've never been to Phoenix, so I don't know if it's real desert or not. Anyhow, so just from those pictures, without searching online, just guess which city has the higher annual average temperature. So it's it's nothing related to statistics. I'm just mm, brainstorming. Okay, guess. The answer is Honolulu. So So Honolulu, the average temperature, daily mean temperatures, I took from Wikipedia. Maybe, by the way, those numbers may have been changed since I made the slides, like actually 8 years ago, due to global warming. But at least 6 years ago, the average temperature was 77.7 Fahrenheit in Honolulu and 75 in Phoenix. Therefore, that means Honolulu is higher. However, the difference is really small. I don't know what is the average temperature in Albany, maybe around 50. So, so compared to Albany, Honolulu and Phoenix are clearly warmer. However, the difference between them is really small in terms of the average temperature. But it does not imply these two cities have similar weather. You know, Honolulu has the best weather in the world. The absolutely the best weather in the world, but Phoenix is actually not Not even, I think, I don't know. I never been there. So no one says the weather in Honolulu and Phoenix are similar. Doesn't make any sense. The reason is then that means if you agree with that, that means these two numbers is not a good comparison. So like if I hide the city names, you don't know what is what. So if I ask you if it's Phoenix or if it's Phoenix, then no one can tell it. The more informative comparison to contrast these two cities, the weather in these two cities, you better say something like this. In Honolulu, in January, in winter, the temperature goes down as low as 66. But in summer, in the hottest month, it goes up as high as like 88. So the temperature ranges from 66 to 88 in Honolulu. But on the other hand, Phoenix ranges between 45 to 106 in July. Then these numbers, this comparison is a much better comparison that shows the 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 exact difference between these two weathers. So Honolulu, the reason why Honolulu has the best weather is that all four seasons it's always warm and nice. Like winter is not that cold and summer is not that hot. That's why Honolulu is so nice. But Phoenix, it's desert area, so it's super cold in winter, but very hot in summer. This is their major characteristics and major uh, difference. So the mean cannot handle, uh, cannot capture this difference. So we are going to define another measure. So we will construct another measure different from the mean that captures this aspect, this kind of characteristics. So we are going to use this example and with a simpler version of weather example, and I'm going to introduce how to construct such a measure. So I will continue that in the next video. Continue there.